Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby. And hey, look, this morning I've got an extreme pleasure. I get to talk to an award-winning filmmaker, producer, got this wild, I want to call it a love story, but it seems to be a one-way thing called My Bloody Galentine. It's streaming on Tubi right now. It's amazing. The trailer's insane. We're going to get a chance to talk about it. Miss Traci Hays. Look, Best Director, LA Film Awards for the short Frederick. Best Director at the International New York Film Festival for her short 40-ish. I could go on and on, but you just go to imdb.com and check out Traci, because otherwise we'll be here doing just the accolades before we even get to the official hello for like 15 minutes. And this woman is busy. I don't have time to be dragging. She's already here for the sec. I'm a nut. I know it. I warned you. This is not a
So
Walter Cronkite type interview. This is a conversation, and I'm excited, honored to meet you, Traci.
sure. I keep it in there. It's a relational like business. I love it. And at the end of the day, it's about connecting with people and we're all humans. So
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so let's get the career track part out of the way. And I would
okay.
like to know from the inside looking out, tell me about Traci Hays and her journey to award-winning filmmaker.
Yeah, I think we all have our own path. I think as an artist, I think what makes our it's so exciting and such an incredible opportunity as all artists, like they find their own way in this world. And I guess to sort of start off, I'm originally from Northern California. I was born and raised in the Bay Area in San Jose. I still have my 408 area code, I'm proud to say.
The boardwalk's in
So,
San Jose, isn't it?
close. Yeah, it's in Santa Cruz.
Santa
Yeah,
Cruz, Santa
uh-huh.
Cruz. Okay, okay.
Yeah. I did grow up going there every summer. It holds a very special place in my heart. And no one in my family was a filmmaker, so I didn't really understand at a young age like what it meant to be a filmmaker, or I wasn't exposed to the idea of people making a living behind the camera, and there that was a very new, un you know, un I didn't understand what that process was like, but I did have an imagination and curiosity, and I think I can look back now and kind of pinpoint the breadcrumbs that led up to the sort of moments of inspiration and realization. And those two moments that stand out to me were when I was in high school. I was playing soccer at a pretty high level. I thought I was going to be a professional soccer player, actually. Was like Mia Hamm, Brandy Chastain, Women's World Cup. Like they're still my heroes. Um, so my journey kind of started differently. I looked differently, but I was really into soccer, and I was a team captain and loved being a part of a team and part of being a team player. And the next thing I knew, I was in the middle of a soccer game, and I ended up passing out and found out that I needed to have third open heart surgery. So I, not to throw a bit of a wrench in this, but yeah, I'm totally fine and feel very fortunate that I'm fully healthy now as an adult. But at the time when I was a teenager, I didn't know that I needed to have another surgery. I thought I was fine. And so here I am, I thought my dreams and were falling apart, and that my life as I knew it was over, and I'm sitting in the hospital bed recovering for a number of months. And I started watching more film and television than I had ever done before in my life at that point. And I started falling in love with film. I feel like that was the first moment, when I watched movies like The Wizard of Oz, when she kind of stepped from her, black and white, dreary sepia tone world to Technicolor, and I started to see the power of visual storytelling for the first time. That's when I realized that that was a key moment for me. And then I started making home videos with my younger siblings. I have three younger siblings, and I put them in all my movies to their to their horror. No, they're none of them are in film, so I don't know. Maybe they're all like, we're no, thank you. But they were such great troopers, and I guess the moment I realized what it meant to be a filmmaker was when I was watching behind the scenes of Lord of the Rings, and that's when I put the pieces together. DVD commentary. That was back then you had to go to the store, rent VHS tapes or DVDs to watch the movies, and very nostalgic. Still have my Blockbuster card. I'm proud to say we're nostalgic
Blockbuster, Big
crazy.
Blue, Big Blue.
So that's what led me to know that I was a visual storyteller. I found a new passion. It was always in me, and I didn't realize it until I had a moment to sort of really think about what I wanted to do. And so I applied to film school, and I went to Chapman University in Orange County, and then I never left. I've been in Southern California ever since then. I made a number of award-winning short films in college, and then I went on to want to stay in the business, working as we all do. Um, Wanting to stay busy. And so I started production designing um, out of college to pay the bills, to be able to support myself financially, but also be in the middle of creativity. And I was fortunate enough to be mentored by some um, incredible people in the business, such as Larry Paul, who production designed Back to the Future and Blade Runner, and Martha Coolidge is an incredible director. She's done Real Genius and um, Valley Girl, and Randall Kleiser, who directed Grease, the original movie. So I was very supported when I was in film school, and it kind of set me up to succeed. So that's what led me to to my to my path of filmmaking. Very long-winded story, but yeah,
Nah, it's beautiful. First of all, production design. I'm a
yeah.
lay person. Holla at your boy. Just break it down just a little bit.
Production design is everything that you see visually on the screen. So whether it's a TV show or a movie, a production designer is helping work with the director to build the visual world of the movie. Everything from a couch to building a whole city to, I mean, obviously the production designer has a whole team that they're working with,
Right.
but the production designer is the head of the department, and the visual style of the movie is comes from that collaboration with the director.
So on the drab side of job, you'd be the project manager.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. Yeah,
The project. I mean, I'm just trying to draw a correlation between those of us who are not creative and don't have an eye for where the couch or the chair is supposed to belong, and the feng
yeah,
shui of things on a set. Uh,
yeah.
so, but that's really cool, Chapman. Now, were you a scholarship student by chance? Orange County, first of all, is expensive,
Yes, it
and
is.
so did you get a scholarship?
I did. I got a partial scholarship because of my grades. I was able to I transferred in and had thankfully support of family, obviously, but I did go on a partial scholarship. So yeah,
Okay. So
yeah,
then I guess my next question would kind of apply because, you know, every college student has a struggle meal. Everybody who's not on a meal card on the meal table, sports person, where they get the full everything, right?
yeah.
What was your struggle meal menu?
Mm. I guess in terms of specifically when I was in school, I
Mhm.
think I I was very fortunate that I was able to focus fully on my studies.
Okay.
Uh, I think where my struggle lied was I think you're finding your voice. I think you're trying to figure out who you are. I think you're trying to uh, understand how to work with other people. There, for me, it was like the moment I graduated, I was on my own. It wasn't like I had a free meal ticket. I had you had to I had to provide for myself right away. So I did. I was lucky that I was able to focus that time in school. But it was, I think for most people that are trying to figure out what they want to do, I was lucky in that I knew that I wanted to direct when I prior to go to film school. That was my focus. But I think it was just the politics, in the same way that you now look at you know your job or your business. Where for me, it was like trying to figure out how to work with everybody, and it's still a process. But I think for me, and I'm dyslexic, so I think that also plays a part in how I um learn and struggle through tests. And it's not held me back. I've worked through it, but it's definitely been a factor in how I learn. And certain things, like all the non-film classes were hard, like learning Spanish and math and science. And I'm like, this is not my jam. Coming
Right.
from two parents who like excelled at engineering and math, it is kind of funny. So
So your whole career path is totally divergent from anything that you saw growing up, and
yeah.
then going to film school. And I can understand. Look, I turned my algebra final in at 11:59, just before the midnight cutoff, and I was like, please don't let me have lag in the internet. So I can hit the clock. You know what I mean? Please. And I got a D. I was happy. I moved on and got the
You
degree.
did
I'm
it.
good. So I
Yeah.
understand, did you have any tips or tricks that you used to make it through those courses with that challenge?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a very visual learner, and I think that's what ultimately led to my ability to production design so well and ultimately be a filmmaker. But it did help me with my dyslexia. I highlight everything. So I like use note cards and flashcards. And I think, yeah, I've got like five right now on my desk. So I'm like a highlighter queen. But also verbal, it's like you read it, you write it, you say it, to help remember like dates. And like I'm never good at remembering dates and names and stuff. So that was sort of a repetitive way to help me stay in it. But yeah, I mean, it was, and also just doing homework and having people that were better at it than me help me figure it out. you know?
Hey, yeah.
So
I
yeah,
remember being on the phone with my friend, classmate, who was in Boston and I was in LA. I'm like, look, I got to get through this. I'll pay you,
hey,
illegal, but I'll pay you. You know what I mean? And they were on the
gotta
phone
have help.
walking me through everything. I was like,
Yeah.
got it. So, was there a benchmark moment or definitive moment when you figured out I really have this and I'm really good at this before the first award, but something in your gut that said, yeah, that's it.
Mm. Trusting your gut is something, I kind of work on every day still. But I do think there was definitely a moment in a shift, which might get jump ahead a little bit in the story. But I definitely there was a shift, 2020, when it, in terms of my sort of my fast track into what I'm doing now. But in terms of when I was before with the short films, I think um just the feeling of the first set I was on, director, I felt so at home. And I think that feeling sort of validated everything, even though I didn't really know what set was and I was still so young. And that first time, and you're trying to figure out where to stand and not be in the way, at the
Right,
very baseline of it all.
right,
But I think it's that of the chaos of a film set, because it's like a circus. It's just, that's just how creativity is. it just felt so right. And I think that I just leaned into that trust and that feeling, and that I still have that feeling. I mean, I feel more at home on a film set than anywhere else. So
Well, you obviously figured it out where to stand.
yeah, I think so. It just took me a
Yeah,
little
you
bit of
figured
time.
that out. I'm like, as a student, the Directors Guild of America, started you on your award path. And it was just like obviously this linear thing with student film awards for Lions Among Men. And that led to Best Director and Best Picture nomination at the Cecil Awards.
Uh-huh.
So you figured it out really quickly and moved forward. And do you recall where you were when you finally had that?
I don't.
Has
That's
it
such
ever
that was a
occurred?
while ago. I don't know because I think for me it was well, without it wasn't without its challenges. That movie holds a special place in my heart, but there was a lot of challenges, as with every movie I think anyone ever does. But we did record this, bringing back memories. My God, we did screen the movie, and sound was out of sync. so, like,
Okay.
so we had to like re put in the old, like we had another version of it put in. And that moment was like horror, and then it was like okay, and then watching the finished movie on the screen with an audience, that's the most fulfilling aha moment, to your point, that
Mm,
I recall, sort of on that journey with that particular project, and frankly every movie. I think being able to screen a movie with a live audience is, you first started out this conversation by saying the sort of like romance or the sort of love affair, and it is it's funny you identified that, because to me, filmmaking is this sort of nostalgic, romantic, like the idea of being able to be in a room with a live, a collective group of people experiencing all these emotions. It's like it is a romantic idea, and it's a huge part of why I'm drawn to it. So
okay. Amazing. Look, I'm just like in awe. I've been blessed. And so listening to the blessings of someone else, through your challenges, you um, and overcoming them, becoming this award-winning filmmaker, and it just makes me smile. I'm enjoying
mm,
success. What was the moment, that full-length mirror moment when you said, I'm not an imposter?
mm. That is a journey. I think we all, like, it's funny, I have this conversation a lot with other fellow creatives about insecurity and being vulnerable, because ultimately you have to be vulnerable, but a leader and a motherly figure, and the general. It's a very interesting, specifically with directing. And I think that moment is actually tied to what I briefly touched on earlier about 2020, as we all know what happened then. And I was on this path, and I was production designing full time, making a great living. I was in the Art Directors Guild. I was able to work without a problem full time. If not, I just didn't stop for over a decade. But I just kind of was like, I'm not doing what I've set out to do from the beginning, which was to direct. But directing full time on any level, commercial, documentary, feature, television, is sort of like getting into the NFL. I mean, it's so, everybody wants to do it, and it's so hard, and it's so competitive. And so that was sort of the moment when everything slowed down. I was burned out. 2020. I think a lot of us were reflecting on what it meant to be human and alive and healthy. And I think I just had to have that moment
Hmm.
with myself and be honest and go, you know what? I need to focus on directing and I need to get out of my own way and give
Mhm.
myself the opportunity that I know I'm now ready for to direct. And so I hired a career coach who I worked with over 6 months. Who I don't know, career coaches. I had no idea what a career coach was until I started digging into it, but it's essentially somebody who helps you set goals and stay accountable. Who's My career coach happens to be in the business, so very specific to what my goals were and could really speak to things that I just maybe hadn't had experience with. And so that was sort of the moment. And then after that moment, everything changed. And the reason I'm here now having made 4 features in 4 years is because of that moment. Of everything else, it's not just that moment. I mean, someone's success is not wrapped up in a moment. It's wrapped up in their life and their kind of all the things that led up to the moment, and recognizing that. So for me, that moment was giving myself permission, getting my own way, knowing that I was capable and that I've been prepared and I know what I'm doing and that I have a voice and an important story to tell. So that was that journey. And then 6 months later, I signed with my agent. 6 months later, I directed a short. A couple months after that, I directed my first feature. And now 4 years later, I'm on to my fifth. So it's just yeah, it's a journey. That's the abridged version. There's much more that happened that went into it. But
I know, and I know you're so busy. I'm like, um, and I want to respect your time, but
no, no, I'm all good.
oh, good, because my brain is like on fire, right? And so just because now, just to put it in a little perspective, I used to do a little set stuff, right? It was a
Yeah.
you could call me the handyman. Oh, move the dance floor. Okay, now bring the
Uh-huh.
dance floor
Yeah.
back. Um,
Yep.
this is broken. What do you got in your tool van? I was the handy guy. I spent a lot of time in craft services, just sitting watching the monitors, right? But eating everything. I'm like, if I'm going to be
Oh.
here 14 hours, I'm killing everything, you know. So, so you living your dream is like inspirational. It just and learning that you had to give yourself permission to smile at yourself and to acknowledge your greatness. And it's not
Hmm.
because you didn't earn it. You worked your way up and learned every screw, nut, and bolt of the business until
Yeah.
became automatic for you. Not maybe not automatic in the creative sense, but in the maybe the mechanics and handling logistics and telling the best boy, I
Yeah.
need this, I need that, I need this, and here's your sheet, and you know, being able to pull that all together. Love it.
Yeah.
My Bloody Galentine.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a Tubi original. Now, look, to put this perspective, our view of Tubi from the urban perspective, and I'm sure you've seen the traffic on social media coming out of the urban community about Tubi and some of the things that it will air.
Hmm.
What drew you to that particular platform? With the quality and caliber of material that you commingled with Joe Blow Bobby with an iPhone.
Yeah, the spectrum of quality is definitely dependent on, I think, the filmmaker and sort of where they're at in their career, and not every budget is the same and every project requires something different. What drew me to Tubi, it was one of those things where, you in the for me as a filmmaker, it's like the goal is to work, to keep creating, to keep improving, to elevate, to then, it's like, okay, every project you elevate and then it's a stepping stone to something else. And so it's for me, it's like, yes, there's fairy tale stories where people get their first movie and it's a $40 million studio movie. Everyone has their own path. In my case, I just had a really wonderful connective general meeting with Mar Vista, who basically, for a lack of a better term, is sort of married to Tubi in the sense that they basically, Mar Vista produces the movies that Mar Vista airs, the original movies under the umbrella of the Fox family. And so that was my sort of into that family. And I, frankly, Tubi was new to me. It's sort of become this monstrous platform in the last couple of years, over 60 million subscribers, and that number is probably outdated now. But it's growing at a really incredible pace. I mean, they're hiring so many people, and it's incredible to see that growth. And so for me to be a part of, yes, I think I never looked at those other films and I wasn't like, oh, I just went in going like, oh, I like the story. I went into it like reading the script that they had brought to me and go, do I like the story? It always starts with the story and the script. And if I like the story and the script, then it's who's involved. Do I like these people? Do they have good energy? Are they going to support me? Do they want to listen to what I have to say? And it is ultimately serving a studio, so it is a business. So there's that side of it. But I think it was a no-brainer. I mean, I read the script. It's female centered. I had done a previous movie prior to my Bloody Galentine, but my Bloody Galentine, at the heart of it, is about female friendship, and it takes you on this wildly hilarious ride. And I think the comedy was so well written by Lisa Mayer. But on top of that, I think the actresses just brought a chemistry that was undeniable, and we would have had no way of knowing that until you stick them in front of a camera and say go. So it's been a journey. And I don't sit there and I can compare myself to every other Tubi movie, but at the end of the day, I want to make the best movie I can with the tools and the people and the resources I have in front of me. And I'm always going to be a boundary pusher. I'm always going to elevate the work because that's just how I operate. And because of that, I think that's why they're able to do so well with the help of everyone else. I mean, I am it's not just me. There's a lot of people involved to make this movie what it is. And yeah, so
I asked the question, not being facetious, but just logging the commentary. And then I said that because you're a well-respected filmmaker. You've more than earned your stripes. And we want to log that, Tubi has grown to the point where they're buying or running public domain series. They're purchasing catalogs.
yeah.
So combined with this dynamo here, Traci Hays, and the starter Joe Blow Bobby around the corner with the iPhone movie, they're giving access to creatives. So have fun with it, support it, because they've obviously proven that they care about getting the art out and giving avenues for people. Traci's got a whole crew. She put something together. She is helping people feed their families. Tubi is a part of that journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it has grown. So we could pick apart things, and I'm just preaching as an old guy. We could pick apart things that, we could pick apart anything. But if we look at the bigger picture, we're talking about creatives having opportunities, and the small production companies that are reported in our GDP, they're businesses, and people who work with them are jobs. And it lowers the, feel me? So just a shout out to Tubi. And this is a Tubi original, which means that they specifically wanted to make this piece. They specifically sought out an award-winning director in Traci and said, I want to give this the best opportunity it can to be a quality project. Please put your touch on it. And yes, we're going to listen to you. So
Yeah,
Never go
I
ahead.
feel very lucky. I mean, I was just gonna say that I feel very lucky that, it is a building block, right? Where you're like, I think what you said was so, I just want to touch on opportunity and just say that Marvis and Tubi have focused on hiring more women behind the camera. They give opportunities to first, second time, whether it's directing, writing, people that are sort of emerging in their career. They are giving those people the opportunity. They're holding the door open. And I think that that is, you know, to and it's maybe in a studio level, you could say that, oh, it's a risk, but they're taking those risks. And I think I just have to give a shout out to my executives at Mar Vista, Ashley Squares and Deja Abrams, who brought me the project, who really championed me and saw my voice and gave me that freedom, really, at a high creative level. I was doing things that I wasn't sure, you just go, this is my gut. And I think the movie is so stylized and so much more of a elevated piece because they allowed me to take risks and take big swings. And that is the hope with everything I do with it moving forward.
And your production design experience, you and the DP pulled some really great visuals off for this trailer. I'm going, there are levels to this, focal points, the mind mapping that went into where do we want them to look next, and
Yeah.
I pay attention to
I appreciate, yeah, Vince Knight, who shot the film. It was their first time collaborating, but he was the most hands-on, like guerrilla filmmaking, like whatever it took, passionate filmmaker with a ton of experience. And I think that's a beautiful mixture when you can have the hunger and passion, but also the experience. And that's the hope with everybody I work with, where it is, there's nothing worse than working with a super experienced, jaded, miserable person. like, like you just go, why, we're not forcing you to do this. You don't have to do this. You signed up for this. You're just like, there's a million other things you could do. But I'm glad that you recognize that. That was very intentional. Vince and I spent a lot of time shadowing and really being specific about a movie that, is this kind of love letter to Scream and Mean Girls and Jawbreakers and Heathers and every Alfred Hitchcock movie. And that was intentional, very intentional.
okay.
So,
I pay attention. I love good films. I love interesting plot twists. But when they said, "What do you think about talking to the My Bloody Galentine?" I'm like, "My Bloody Valentine? They did a remake of My Bloody Valentine?" Word association at my age, right? I'm going, okay, this is going to be interesting. And then I got the title right finally, and got out of my box. And I'm like, yo, this is so cool. And
mhm.
then I subscribed to Tubi so I could watch the whole thing. And I'm like, y'all killed it. Killed it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we got another one coming down the pipeline.
Talk to me
So
about it. Let's go. Can you tell? Is
let's
it
go.
P16 classified, or can we talk about it? Can we talk about
I
it?
mean, I can talk at like a I guess like
General sense?
a bird's eye view down, shall we say?
Okay.
No, I mean I'm filming another movie. I'm directing another movie with Tubi in Mar Vista that we're going into production in less than a month. We're filming. It's a thriller. It's very different than the film I just finished, but I'm very excited. It's female centered, and it'll be out later this year probably, which we don't have a release date, but it's fast turnaround time, but we're gonna pour everything into it. I feel so supported. Great team behind it already. In the process of getting all our ducks in a row. But it is, yeah. So if you like gritty, grounded thrillers, that sort of focus on family and chosen family and sisters, I think people will enjoy it. So.
Okay, I'm not gonna pry too much more.
I can tell you're like, I got all these questions.
You know, I just want to get in there like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I recognize the tag Mark Vista. It's an old tag. It's an old company.
yeah. It's been around for a while.
It's been hidden from the mainstream.
Mm,
You know, you don't often go, well, they're certainly, if they're in the the studio list, they're not on in the above the line credits. So you go, Mar Vista, Mar Vista Studios. Really?
hmm
Okay. Yeah. And it's all tiny. I'm like, but such a great history. Um,
mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I actually, I will say, I actually used, I production designed a number of films for them back in the day. So they've been around forever. So it's definitely full circle moments, right and left every week, and I'm enjoying it, trying to soak it up because it is bizarre, but the best kind of feeling. So,
Like manifesting stuff, like maybe one day you said, I'm going to direct and this company is going to push me. And here you are, you know,
mm,
it, I love that. Yeah, there's some magical stuff. It's more than the magic of the movies. It's the magic of making the movies and the careers and the lives of the creatives.
mm,
It's just deeper than going and go say, oh, great Marvel movie, right? Yeah, or it's in 3D. That's a lot of
mm,
the story
mm,
lines, the continuity, all those things. I'm not a critic
yeah.
or anything like that, but I I'm just in love with the process and meeting people. What is or what continues to be the most fun for you? You've mentioned a
Mm.
couple of things. Do you have a top two or three?
I I think it's the process of collaborating with whoever that might be. Right, there's so many people I'm collaborating with on this movie right now. Actors, producers, cinematographer, production design, costume designer, make hair and makeup, grip, electric, the PA, all of the above. I think the sort of, for me, I I'm a connector and I love connecting and I love collaborating, and that just feeds my soul like to a core. So that is very much a part of the process and what I love the most about it. And I guess the second thing would just be to tell stories that I'm really deeply affected by personally at a certain level that I feel can maybe touch someone else in the same way that it touches me. And sort of that process of finding that happens through development and in the script stages and then all the way through casting and sort of finding the moment on the set on the day. I think the magic, what you're talking about, both on screen and behind the camera, I think that's the kind of things that it does sound very much like a dream, but it is a feeling, and I think as a creative person it's the thing we're chasing
Mm.
always.
When I go
So
to movies, I get distracted. You've seen those scenes where like an investigator or a detective is on a crime scene and they mentally walk through it. I get
mm-hmm.
distracted by like, okay, where was the grip at this moment? What filter were they using? What gel
Yeah,
did they slide into the light box? Yeah, I'm distracted. So I have to be at home. Otherwise, I waste
yeah,
money going to the theater. I need to, I'm kind of like,
yeah.
every creative situation has like a joker, a jester. Do you recall a moment within the last couple of years uh of something on set that just tickled you to the point where you could not control yourself?
Oh man. um I think was it like really just going for it. Oh my gosh, there was so many.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of like just I just remember on this last film when those three girls, like when I had my three leading ladies, who Ella Ray Smith and Cassie Clare and Miriam Teague Lee were put together. Um, and there was a scene, and it wasn't scripted, but it was in the film. I won't give away what happens before because it's worth the punchline. But there's a moment when they start to dance and they're celebrating after this event that they've all now shared together and schemed and were came out on top on the other side. That was all improv, and I on this fly found this song that was in the Fox's library, so it was cleared. And I was like, girls, what if we just do like a little dance celebration at the top of this? And I have this great song. And they didn't know what it was. So I pressed record, started filming, and the three of them dancing. One of them got up on the couch. The other one was just, I was in stitches. The whole crew was just like, the three of them dancing on the couch. I mean, it was just the funniest thing. And it was those kind of unexpected moments you don't plan for that are, I think, so beautiful and make filmmaking so fun. That I was laughing my ass off for sure for that. It was so funny.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
So,
I thank you for your patience with me
oh,
and
of course, sure.
my side notes and shenanigans. Throughout your career, I'm sure that you've been interviewed or had quotes requested from you by everybody, their cat, uncle, and dog, right?
Mhm.
Is there a question perhaps that we in the media have yet to address with you that you've always wanted to answer or talk about?
Mm.
Could be a process,
Yeah.
an initiative.
Um, the thing that always comes to mind is like what I would have told my younger self. Um, just I think there's so many lessons to be learned, and you learn through experience. I think if I had to like boil it down or think about it, I think it's not being afraid to fail, and through that failure, you I think become a stronger, more well-rounded person. And without those risks and without taking those chances, specifically on yourself, then I don't, then why should somebody else if you're not willing to do that? And so that's a question I think I wish I'd asked myself earlier in my career. Because the moment I took a chance on myself, people started also. And I think that that's sort of the thing when we talked about manifestation and whether you believe in, prayer, or manifesting, or all of I just think I do believe that it's, there's something bigger than us that's at work, and understanding that it is about putting that positive, being trying to remember that being a positive person like does, I think, make a difference and help it's like that's what you attract. What you put out is what you attract. So yeah.
So would the takeaway, be that self-actuation will help you navigate the maze because you have to take the first step. And then also remember
Mhm.
that the people that you meet on the way up, everybody
Yes,
knows the rest, right?
and you just treat everybody like whether they're the PA or the executive producer of the studio. It's like I just treat everybody the same, and like through mutual respect, because that PA in 4 years is going to be hiring you. I mean, I have examples on more than one hand that I can tell, and stories for maybe a later time. But I think the point of it all is just you never know, and it's important to not only walk through the door but keep it open for the people that are coming behind you. So
Is there anything that you want to cover I missed?
I think I'll probably be eating lunch later and go, oh, darn it, Jerry, we missed the one thing.
You're always welcome
That
back.
always
You're always
happens,
welcome back.
right?
You're
No,
always
I love it. I feel like we get, the conversation, like there's so much to cover. And I feel like, yeah, I think, no, I mean, whether you're older in your career and starting out or younger, or people taking, you're not seriously because you're too young looking. I mean, that was something I dealt with a lot growing. Like people still think I'm like, oh, you just finished college. And you're like, oh, that's flattering. But also just knowing your worth, I think it's a journey, and like not being afraid to ask for help. I think, I don't know. There's so many things we can talk about, but it's like I think knowing when you're not sure, and I'm the first person to admit when I don't know something. So I just think if those are things that people can think about when they're pursuing, if that's their whatever that might be, it's okay to not know. Um, so great.
the dynamo,
Yeah.
the young lioness, Traci Hays. Her newest piece out is My Bloody Galentine. It's a Tubi original. So here during Women's History Month, I know there was an International Women's History Day, and I had technical difficulties, and we would have had this out on that day. However, the universe was not with me. And thus we're just doing it through the month, but I'm excited to celebrate you, and I would love for you to come back. And I would love to
Yeah.
continue telling your stories and shining a light on your work. Um, you have my support.
Thank you.
Women that we can look up to are not necessarily the women with the shiny jewels and outward appearance and can dance real well, but women who continue the tradition of living through intestinal fortitude and making things shake
Mm-hmm.
and pushing forward. I know the climate, and it's not going to get political, but I just want to acknowledge that every benchmark in my life, save the military, has been marked by interaction, support,
Mm-hmm.
and encouragement of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in my professional career in journalism has come through a woman. So my appreciation and my love for women, not as God's art only, but brainiacs, spines of steel, guts and balls where men should be having them and don't. They stand up and say, we're going to put it down this way. And if it's not going to be this way, it's going to be no way. It's going to be the right way. And that's been my experience for the most part. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but that's been my experience. So I just want to say thank you for the example.
Yeah.
Thank you for the time and patience and granting me a little insight into your career process. I can share something I'm proud to share with our young ladies coming up as a career option. They're
Great.
all good
Yeah.
people. So Traci Hays, award-winning director, My Bloody Galentine. Go stream it on Tubi. It's good. It's really, really good. And if you're into the artistic styles uh, of filmmaking, and you're going to be like full, it will fill you up. You're like, yeah, they did everything. They dotted every I, crossed every T. In my opinion, I'm not Siskel or Ebert, but I'm pleased, and I could watch it again and again. And actually, some surprising moments in there. Anyway, Traci Hays, thank you so much. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate you. The Hype Magazine live sessions. Stay tuned. We're gonna have her back when she has time, and after
Yeah.
this next one comes out, and I meant that. I really want to support you. So please have your team keep us abreast of.
Yeah.
what's going on.
Thank you for giving me a space to talk about things I'm really passionate about, and hopefully somebody else will learn a thing or two that helps them on their journey. So
Thank you for trusting me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
yeah, absolutely, Jerry.
All right. Night Magazine Live Sessions. We're out of here.
See you.
As an artist, we should reflect the time.
Why you so talented?
Cause I'm black.
Why you so amazing?
Cause I'm black.
It's really important that we build characters so that people understand their story matters.
2 Chainz and I both are just really into good food.
And when you know you are royalty, you will only aim in life to be royalty.
We're doing it right now. I don't give a damn what they say about me. Yes, I called your ass out. I know I shouldn't be saying this kind of.
Shout out the Hype Magazine Network.
Shout out to the Hype Magazine Network.